Neelam, you're looking gorgeous today. You know, I always thought that founders are the serious-looking IT geeks and business management, corporate guys who never smile.
I think I have to come up with something witty and not tell you what my beauty secrets are. Jokes apart, I think I'm a very normal looking woman, and I think that's what I represent, that anybody, like any girl, any woman from any part of the country can start her own business.
School principal's daughter. What a fabulous story. From a small town in Agra, could dream of setting up a company in the first place, and that too today with a 70 crore turnover. I mean, I couldn't have had a better candidate for this chat show than you. What was the journey from being that doughy-eyed girl from that small city to come over to Delhi and set up this firm?
It seems unreal, when I look back and think from where I come from and how I started it. But I think life experiences. I think the life experiences sometimes give you a purpose, and sometimes give you that direction and give you what's right for you.
Inspirational quote, I think. What, in simple word, how did it all happen?
Rajan, honestly, I don't know how it started, because coming from a middle class service family, हमेशा से यही था कि आप पढ़ाई करिए, अच्छे नंबर लाइए, and then maybe get a good job and later on get settled and get married in life.
And then do what?
I don't know, maybe continue the job, or whatever the set parameters are there in the society for service. A safe place. He wanted a safe career option for me, where I can manage my both professional and personal life. So coming from an educational background, he wanted me to become a professor as well. Yeah. But I think
do you believe in destiny?
I do. I really do.
Do you really visit astrologers?
Not really, but I believe you always end up doing what you're meant for. And being a hardcore foodie, I think food is something, this industry is something, is what I was meant to do. And I think I have been fortunate enough that I tried and I succeeded.
Neelam, the failure rate of startup is as high as 70%. What made you get into doing? There is no connect between being a foodie and doing a business. Yeah, you're right in a way, but I think I started the burger company because as a consumer, as a small town college student, I faced this huge problem that we all had, me and my friends, that we did not have any place to go. If we wanted to give a birthday treat, if we wanted to just hang out after classes, or sometimes bunk college, we did not have a place to go. Where the date too.
Yeah, now I can say maybe a date. So there was not any place. We are trying our best to provide a safe place, and which is not, the food prices are not too heavy on the pocket. So all the young couples, they can come and they can just have a good meal.
But Neelam, the international burger chains, they offer a great ambience. They also good places to hang out. So how are you different from them?
We are very much different, because first of all, we are born in the country. We are a complete made in India brand, and I think that acts as an advantage also, because जो बाहर से brands आए हैं, they don't know the heart of the country and what people actually want.
How are you different?
They are quick service restaurants, so they want you to come quick, eat quick, and then go quick. So we don't want that. So they want you to come quick, eat quick and then go quick. So we don't want that. To provide a place कि आप आओ, आप बैठो, अपना food enjoy करो and make memories in the burger company. So we wanted to be part of their memories. So अगर आप हमारा ambience देखेंगे, it's very Instagram worthy, it's very welcoming, bright, and when we talk about the food, the presentation is not which you see in regular QSRs. We have very engaging way of presenting our food. So that reminds me, have you ever tasted our food?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I haven't.
That is not acceptable. Rajan,
I just liked your bright smile and your doggy, which was on your website, and I thought, whoa man, this lady has set up 100-store chain in 7 years. I must have her on my show.
Thank you, but you cannot get away with this. I think that that's my cue to treat you with the burger company food and showcase you, जो हमारी मेहनत है, जो हम प्यार से खाना बनाते हैं और खिलाना चाहते हैं लोगों को. I would love if you will take.
हाँ दिल ने दस्तरखान बिछाया दावते इश्क है, दिल ने दस्तरखान बिछाया दावते इश्क है कबूल तो आजा जाना दावते इश्क है कबूल तो आजा जाना दावते इश्क है दिल ने दस्तरखान बिछाया, हाँ दिल ने दस्तरखान बिछाया.
So Rajan, the idea of doing my own business, or the thought in itself was very scary because it is something that nobody has done in either of the sides, not even my husband's side and not my side of the family. So the daring came when I first started my own food stall in a college fest, so which was during my MBA days, and I had set up a food stall for 3 days where I had to purchase the stall space for 10,000 rupees and then arrange all the vendors in a different city, which was Hyderabad, and the language barrier was there because the vendors were very small scale vendors. So I did all that and I could manage that. And in those 3 days, my stall was in the top 2 stalls who made profit in that fest. So which was something that really gave me confidence that कुछ तो किया जा सकता है अपना. And since I always had this love for food, I thought why not let's give it a try. But then again after college, when I got placed in a company through campus placement, Then obviously the thought was still there.
That was an insurance job.
No, that was an analytics job in Genpact Analytics. So so I get on with it because it's easier to dream, but when it comes to reality, there are so many things that you need to take care of.
What was obstacle one? Again, I repeat, was it your father who said, no, this is not something that you can do? Your husband, Neelam, I am well settled, why get into this? Or your in-laws who would say typically from, how it is, North India, मेरा बहू क्यों business करेगी? क्या कमी है हमारा family में? So what was the obstacle?
So when I started TVC, it was after my marriage, and the first people that I told about it was my in-laws and my family. The first people whom I shared this news that I want to.
Who did you break your ambition to? The first person, was it your husband or was it your mother-in-law?
So it was my husband, and he was quite supportive of the idea because he himself always dreamt of doing something related to food, but given the circumstances of the family, he was not ready to talk to his parents about this idea because he was very scared, because we come from a very humble background, and Nitesh was the sole bread earner of the family. So I was also doing a corporate job that time, and when I shared this news, so it was not very well taken, because my in-laws are from Haryana, proper Haryana Jat family, and they are a little conservative in their ways of thinking. So like I said कि पूरे खानदान में कभी किसी ने बिजनेस नहीं किया था पहले, and especially coming from a woman, coming from a daughter-in-law is something that was very unheard of and not expected.
So the first 3 months, how was it? वो कैसे था? घर में झगड़ा हो रहा था या आप घर चले गए थे? झगड़ा इतना झगड़ा बढ़ गया कि you went back to your parents. How was the first 3 months? What kind of resistance did you face?
So there was a lot of resistance, but it required a lot of convincing. So although I failed in convincing, but I had two choices: either continue my job or leave my job, or start something that I always dreamt of. And so I chose to go on my dream path, and in spite of the resistance, I started it, and I told them that when I will succeed, I'm sure you are going to applaud my efforts.
Who gave you the first lakh of rupees? Was it borrowed? Was it your savings? Who gave you that first capital, seed capital, to start your 250 square feet store in Gurgaon?
So I had somewhere around 2.5 lakhs from my savings from my job. Then I had sold my jewelry, whatever I had from my marriage, and I took a loan from my parents, and we took a 5 lakh loan, like from Nitesh. He took a personal loan and gave it to me.
Why is that you had to repay back the money? Well, within family, it's all given.
So it was not like that I had to repay, but I'm the kind of person who does not like to take favors, and especially when it is something that is not personal and something that's professional. So I have been fortunate enough that I could earn and pay back.
What's one romantic song that you still hum to your husband?
That's again a very personal one, but it's Hey There Delilah. So it talks about long distance relationship which we had before we got married, and it also talks about the struggles of the couple, the financial struggles of the couple, where the boy is saying that we'll make it big and we'll fight it together. So it goes like, hey there Delilah, don't you worry about the distance, I'm just 1,000 miles away at road.
Hey, it's Delilah, it's so lonely in the city. You're 1,000 miles away telling your new girl she's so pretty. Yes, you should.
So you started with a 250 square foot store in Gurgaon, and it's 100 odd now. Was it really easy to attract franchises? I mean, if I were a franchisee, what's special about you? You know, I could as well put together a handmade set of burgers. The recipe, is it really that outstanding that, you know, something that I cannot make on my own?
So I think it's a mix of everything. We are very honest in what we claim or whatever information we provide to our franchisees. We are very transparent in that. There are no hidden costs attached to the investment that we are asking for. There are no margins that we earn on any kind of supplies. So whatever we say we are going to give, we do that. We stand by it, even if it is a support related thing or
नीलम, मुझे आपका फ्रेंचाइजी बनना ही क्यों है? कॉफ़ी मैं भी बना सकता हूँ, हैंडमेड बर्गर मैं भी असेंबल कर सकता हूँ. क्या है आप में कि मैं आपका फ्रेंचाइजी लूँ? मैकडॉनल्ड्स के पास एक ग्लोबल ब्रांड नेम है.
राजन, आप मेरी फ्रेंचाइजी लेंगे इफ़ यू वांट टू बी योर ओन बॉस. एंड अगर आपको एक बिजनेस सेटअप करना है बहुत ही डिसेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट से, ऑब्वियसली देखिए अगर आप इंटरनेशनल ब्रांड्स की बात करते हैं तो देयर आर करोर्स ऑफ रुपीज़ दैट आर रिक्वायर्ड. एंड जो हमारा देश है इसमें हर एक शहर में आपको ऐसे लोग मिलेंगे जो अपना कुछ काम स्टार्ट करना चाहते हैं, अपने पैरों पे खड़ा होना चाहते हैं. एंड इंडिया इज़ अ लैंड ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, आई ऑलवेज से दैट. सो वी वांट टू गिव दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू स्पेशली यंग पीपल और whosoever want to start their own business, and we don't want them to make mistakes that we made. So जो भी गलतियाँ करनी थी, जो भी हमें सीखना था वो हमने किया है. एंड जो भी हमारी learnings हैं वो एक पूरे पैकेज में we want to give to our investors.
Fascinating. Let's get back to, we kind of moved away from your initial days.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that story. That what interests me more. So what are the kind of resistance that you face from the in-laws, and how did you deal with it?
So to be very honest, it was not an easy time for us.
बातचीत बंद हो गया?
होता है. सो जब सी पेरेंट्स, चाहे वो इन लॉज हो या आपके पेरेंट्स हो, दे डोंट वांट बैड फॉर यू. दे जस्ट वांट यू यू नो वांट यू टू बी सेफ, वांट यू टू अर्न वेल, सो दैट यू नो फैमिली में कभी कोई कमी ना हो खाने की, पहनने की, ओढ़ने की. सो आई थिंक पेरेंट्स वांट्स बेस्ट फॉर अस, बट समटाइम्स दे मे नॉट बी अलाइंड विद योर वे ऑफ थिंकिंग or your ways. So I think it's the onus is on us to make them understand, make them believe and convince them कि भाई हम इसलिए करना चाहते हैं और हम ये करने की क्षमता रखते हैं.
हाँ, बट लोग समझते हैं, पर्टिकुलरली एक जनरेशन का लोग कितना भी लॉजिकल हो जाए वो नहीं समझते हैं. तो वो कैसे किया आपने? किस तरह का रेजिस्टेंस आए जहाँ यू नो पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप अफेक्टेड हो, या और पर्टिकुलरली जहाँ शादी के बाद आप कुछ करने जा रहे हैं, वहाँ पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप और प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप दोनों कहीं ना कहीं एक जगह पे आकर कहीं ना कहीं वो ब्लेंड करता है. सो उसको कैसे, किस किस्म का प्रॉब्लम आपने फेस की?
See, though this is very personal, but मैं इसलिए शेयर करना चाहती हूँ because there are lots of couples out there who dream of starting something of their own. So I just want to share this that resistance आएगा, but जैसे मैंने कहा वो सिर्फ आपके भले के लिए होता है, भले के लिए सोचते हैं, but आप उनको समझा सकते हैं कि आप ये क्यों करना चाहते हैं. अगर वो ना भी समझें, सिचुएशंस आएंगी जहाँ पे हो सकता है आप बातचीत बंद हो जाए, हो सकता है कि आप एक दूसरे को फेस ना करना चाहें, एंड इनफैक्ट आपकी आपस में भी इस वजह से लड़ाइयाँ हो सकती हैं, और मेरी भी हुई हैं, राइट. बिकॉज हस्बैंड के ऑब्वियसली वो पेरेंट्स हैं, एंड वो कभी नोक झोंक और कभी डिफरेंसेस ऑफ ओपिनियन तो आएंगे ही आएंगे, दैट गोज विदाउट सेइंग.
और अगर ऐसे चॉइस किसी के सामने आता है, जैसे आपके ज़िंदगी में आया कि नहीं मुझे मालूम नहीं, कि आपको अपना ड्रीम परस्यू करने के लिए शादी भी तोड़ना पड़े, क्या एक लड़की को इतना एम्बिशियस होना चाहिए?
सी इसका कोई रूल बुक नहीं है, इट टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन
आपके साथ हुई थी ऐसे?
नहीं, आई हैव बीन फॉर्चुनेट इनफ दैट आई गॉट अ वेरी सपोर्टिव हस्बैंड एंड वी शेयर अ ड्रीम. सो वो सिचुएशन नहीं आई, बट हाँ डिफरेंसेस आए थे, इनफैक्ट अभी भी आते हैं, अभी हम साथ में काम करते हैं. सो नितेश बेसिकली जॉइंड द बर्गर कंपनी इन 2020 आफ्टर 2 years ऑफ मी स्टार्टिंग द बर्गर कंपनीज फर्स्ट स्टोर, एंड अभी हम साथ में रन करें तो डिफरेंसेस अभी भी होते हैं. And I think creative differences are good also.
But look at family-run enterprises. Pretty often, whether it's between brothers or husband-wives, more so in case of husband-wives, because ego is the biggest killer there. Companies take a backseat because of their differences, attitude problems, ego battles. So far, what kind of battles have you faced with Nitesh? And it pretty often happens the owners carry it to their home.
See, although it sounds very fancy कि आप अपना प्रोफेशनल एंड पर्सनल लाइफ एकदम बैलेंस करके चल रहे हैं, you're not taking your work to home, but in real life it is very difficult and it takes I think lot of time to get to a level जहाँ पे अपना काम आप घर पे नहीं लेके जा रहे हैं. And I think we're still struggling that because 24/7 we are thinking what to do next and how we can tackle this problem. So I think we are still in the transition, still in the phase कि हम work life balance ला पाए अपनी जिंदगी में, but it is very difficult, especially.
Has it happened that he has shouted at you at the office, or you've done that at him sometime? Be honest.
Not there have been arguments, but there is a level of respect that we like to maintain between us. So it's not a cat fight, I would say, but it's a disagreement that happens, and I think that happens between people who are not related also.
Absolutely. And who took the initiative to mend it back at home? You or him?
Him. I think most of the guys they have to do it in a relationship.
So how does he do it? With chocolates and flowers like we read in Mills and Boon? So he has his own way to do it.
He has his own way. He just make a cute puppy face, and right. I think that okay. Does it.
So what are the differences between two of you, or couples like you who run a business together? Is it on finance?
So not particularly finance, but there are various departments or various things that you need to take care of when you're running your own business, because you cannot be a marketing guy, you cannot be only HR, you have to be you have to wear different hats to run a business. So there could be differences related to strategy and what the future plan is going to be. So there are various kind of differences
on a day-to-day basis, what we call the shop floor difference, like at the office, in the store. What are those differences which are very difficult to handle between a husband-wife owner promoter?
So I think when you're running a business on a pan-India level, so it is very important to have clarity कि आपका business किस direction में जाना चाहिए. So I think जो strategic calls होते हैं उसमें काफ़ी differences आते हैं, because everybody has his own way of talking and thinking about expansion, own way of talking and thinking about innovation and what trends to follow, what not. So जो strategic calls होते हैं, creative calls होते हैं, उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा differences आते हैं, because that defines कि आपका business किस direction में जाएगा.
you're the face of the company. And I believe that's a strategic move to have a woman face for the brand.
So Rajan, so like I said before, we are a very transparent company, and we always say or portray what we are very honest with whatever we say and whatever we portray. So like I said, I started my first outlet of the burger company in 2018 May, and
that was a 250 square foot outlet where you used to serve yourself. I've seen these pictures, you were thinner then.
Yeah, much thinner. मैंने बहुत सारे बर्गर्स खाए हैं. So काफ़ी याद है जब हमारा फर्स्ट आउटलेट बन रहा था तो उसमें जो एक कील लगी है वो भी मैं मार्केट से परचेज करके हमारे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को दी है. सो लिटरली वो होता है ना ईट से बनाया है. सो दैट फर्स्ट आउटलेट इज माई ऑल ब्लड एंड स्वेट. एंड जब हमने स्टार्ट किया था तो ऑब्वियसली लाइक आई टोल्ड यू कि जो भी था हमने लोन लेके किया था. वी डिड नॉट हैव मच वर्किंग कैपिटल ऑल्सो बैक देन. सो आई हैड जस्ट वन एम्प्लॉई, एंड जब वो चले जाती थी, दैट वाज आल्सो अ गर्ल. सो जब वो चले जाती थी देन आई यूज्ड टू टेक द ऑर्डर्स, प्रिपेयर ऑर्डर्स एंड सर्व एंड देन क्लीन. सो एंड आई लव्ड डूइंग दैट. आई स्टिल have my first of the clients who sometimes call me also whenever they have a maybe a bulk party thing or whenever they want to organize anything.
How much were you making at that point of time?
So we were
from one store. You making profit?
Yeah, so surprisingly I didn't think कि इतना जल्दी हम break even और profits करेंगे, but from the second month we were operationally profitable. So I think it is because जो हम खाना देते थे बहुत प्यार से देते थे, and people were also very
was that amount, the money that we were making, the profit, was it more than the salary that you were drawing earlier?
No, it wasn't, because food business although बाहर से बहुत starry लगता है, fancy लगता है, but it is difficult especially when you're starting for the first time. So काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हमने initially गलती करी when it comes to food cost, कि प्राइस कितना होना चाहिए, कितना मार्जिन होना चाहिए. So कुछ महीने हमने काम करके वो चीज़ सीखी, and later on we were quite profitable. हम लोग महीने में बिजनेस करते थे approximately 4.5-5 lakhs का हम करते थे.
And Nitish was working.
Nitish was, so he was working as a category head.
So from that one store chain, how did you manage to duplicate that into so many?
So that's another story. So जब हमने एक्सपैंड करना स्टार्ट किया था in October 2020. So it was almost during COVID only. So there were a lot of things that worked in our favor. जब कोविड हुआ था तो प्रॉपर्टी के रेट्स बहुत कम हो गए थे, तो रियल एस्टेट वॉज वेरी चीप, एंड पीपल ऑल्सो रियलाइज्ड कि एक सेकेंड इनकम सोर्स होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, बिकॉज देयर वर लॉट ऑफ ले ऑफ्स इन द कंपनीज ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. So so all of these things together, they worked for us. So people started approaching us that we also want to start our own business. So so that's how we took off. That's when we opened our first franchisee.
But to me this is so very surprising as to how could a young couple from service background manage to open 100 stores in 5 years. 100 stores in different cities is no joke. So what went behind this? It couldn't be that people just approached you. You had no name, right?
So it's a whole
You're not a brand, and not yet. So how are you getting your franchises?
So it's a whole roller coaster ride, journey that we have completed. So जब नितेश ने ज्वाइन किया था TBC, so उसके कुछ टाइम बाद ही कोविड आ गया, and it was a very uncertain scenario जहाँ पे हमें पता नहीं था कि कब ख़त्म होगा, मार्केट्स कब ओपन होंगे, एंड नितेश वॉज ऑल्सो विदाउट जॉब. सो दैट वॉज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टाइम फॉर अस. इट वॉज अ वेरी डिप्रेसिंग सिचुएशन फॉर अस, एंड आई थिंक फॉर एवरीबडी एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो एक ऐसा पॉइंट भी था जब हमने सोचा कि चलो अब बंद कर देते हैं, बिकॉज रेंटल जा रहा था एंड एम्प्लॉयज भी थे, उनको हम पूरी नहीं हाफ सैलरी दे पा रहे थे.
How many stores did you have at that point of time?
Just one, the first one.
All right.
Yeah. So वो टाइम था जब हमने सोचा शायद हमें ये बंद कर देना चाहिए, एंड मे बी जब कोविड ओवर होगा, जब भी होगा, देन वी कैन स्टार्ट अफ्रेश. बट देन फिर हमेशा हमारे डिस्कशन के एंड में कंक्लूजन होता था कि नहीं, चलो 1 महीने और ट्राई करते हैं, 1 महीने और ट्राई करते हैं, लेट्स जस्ट स्टिक टू आवर ड्रीम.
So fascinating.
तो करते आई थिंक.
And who was inspiring whom?
I think each other. जब भी
Very,
when
very
I was
diplomatic. Who was inspiring? I'm sure one of you was more stubborn between two of you.
I think I was the stubborn one, and Nitesh is something who pacifies, whenever I feel low. So I think we help each other out. I think that's the reason we have been able to sustain till now. So फिर COVID first जो क्या बोलते थे उसको, sorry, first wave, so first wave of COVID, it was there was a break in that, and then फिर हमने अक्टूबर में हमने स्टार्ट किया कि let's just start home deliveries, and then we went online with our ads for franchisees, and then people started connecting with us.
Franchisee expansion is one of the toughest thing to do in food business, because you have to guarantee a certain minimum income to a franchisee. You have to come on the table with a brand, a brand which is recognizable. You're not yet a brand, you are becoming a brand. How are you acquiring franchises?
So I would like to differ a bit on that point, because see, like I told you, हमारा एजेंडा ही यही था कि हम उन शहरों में जाएं जहाँ बड़े प्लेयर्स जाने से डरते हैं, because the supply chain is very difficult and they do not see that potential. Cities like we are there in Chaibasa, which is a very, very small city. We are there in Banda, we are even in Nagarkoil. Yeah. So like I told you, so जो हमारा विजन है वो यही है कि हम इंडिया के हार्ट में जाना चाहते हैं, एंड वी वांट टू बी इंडियाज बिगेस्ट बर्गर ब्रांड.
कुछ पाने की हो आस आस, कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास आशा, हर कोशिश में हो बार बार, कर दरियाओं को आर पार आशा, तूफानों को चीर के मंजिलों को छीन ले, आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की, अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी, आशाएं खिले
back to the brand building exercise bit.
Yeah.
What I want to still figure out is how do you manage your supply chain? Because in the kind of business that you are in, you have to have a universal quality maintained across all stores, and that's the key of success for a KFC, a McDonald's, Burger King, all of them. They taste and smell the same across the world. Now, you cannot have a universal supply chain if you're so spread out into smaller cities. A. B. If you do not have control over the source of the raw material, right? Most of it is outsourced by you. How are you doing it? I mean, does your burger taste differently in one town from another?
Not really, and I think the secret is the ingredients itself. There are, if I say, there are 70% or 75% of the ingredients that are specially manufactured for us with our own secret, recipes. If I talk about sauces, if I talk about patties, and even I think we were the first ones to create fresh chicken patties in the outlets. So there's a product called Crunchos in our menu. It is made fresh, made to order in our outlets. So I think what we are trying to do is we are making sure that the the taste is uniform across our stores with our specialized and customized ingredients. So it is difficult, but I think that's the beauty of a born in India brand, that we can dare and we can manage. Indians, I think, सब कुछ figure out कर सकते हैं if they have the will.
Yeah, but you have multiple suppliers, unlike the biggies, the three biggies, who have one source, one set of supplier, and that's how they maintain their quality across the world, across the country. You have multiple suppliers. How do you bring uniformity?
We have multiple suppliers, but the product is same. So we have set up a distribution network where we are giving cuts to our distributors, but the product is going to be the same.
That's all right.
So we're using their facility
but
to
if you're
store.
taking bread from me and from somebody else, I could be making it a little differently, and you wouldn't even know one set of consignment tastes different. Vis-a-vis if you have one manufacturer supplying pan-India.
Yeah. So we have one manufacturer but different distributors distributing that particular product.
That's a sweet spot that you have figured out to go into tier 2, tier 3 cities where you do not really have competition from the the three big brands in the burger chain segment. Whose idea was this?
So it was not an idea. It was purely, came from the problems that I faced personally as a small towner. So I really wanted to fix that gap, because small towns are, I don't know why they are neglected by all these big brands, because they have so much potential. And in fact, if I talk about the business, जो हमारे in fact छोटे शहरों में जो हमारी average ticket size होता है, that is even higher than the metro cities. So people have big pockets and that they're ready to pay, just that they are derived out of options. So I think that's what that's the change that we wanted to bring. And अगर आप अभी देखेंगे फूड इंडस्ट्री में, so जो हमने स्टार्ट किया था, people are also going in that direction, and there are many big brands that are now opening their stores in small cities, and I think that's a win for us.
Is it just a win? Because you're inviting, by saying this, you're inviting a lot of competition from the biggies, which when comes is going to be tough for you, because you're still not invested in a big way in brand building. That's not yet happened. You've been doing organic expansion as it comes. What kind of plans do you have for, building this brand into something mega?
So I think that's what we have acknowledged, that there's a lot to do when it comes to marketing and reaching out to a bigger chunk of people.
That's all right, but एक बोलते हैं ना ब्रांड का खुशबू, वो आपको क्या लगता है बर्गर कंपनी का क्या होना चाहिए?
सो आई थिंक जैसे मैंने बताया, जो हमारा कस्टमर है, सो दे आर ऑल यंगस्टर्स भी. जो हमारा एवरेज कस्टमर एज ग्रुप है, दैट इज़ बिटवीन 14-15 to 28. सो जो हम चाहते हैं, इनफैक्ट जो हमें फीडबैक हमारे कस्टमर्स से आता है, दैट इज़ दे फील ग्रेट दैट they are getting value in when they are visiting TVC, and whenever they are giving any treat or giving any party to anybody, it doesn't feel like कि सस्ते में निपट गए, बोलते हैं ना कि इन्होंने तो सस्ते में ट्रीट दे दी हमें. So it's not like that. Even it is pocket friendly, but yet the experience is such. If I talk about the food, if I talk about the ambience, and if I talk about the service, it is such that you feel that you are celebrated when you come to our outlet.
चुन के बुन के कालीन बनाया है तेरे लिए, तारों को तोड़ करके तश्तरी में सजाया है तेरे लिए.
चांद तारों को क्यों सताया, दिल मिलाया है मेरे लिए. जाऊं जिधर भी खिल खिल, उधर ही धूप निकलती है मेरे लिए.
हाय बातें तेरी चाशनी सी मीठी मीठी,
हाय हाय बातें ही अदावतें भी मीठी मीठी.
Being bootstrapped, it's very difficult to spend on marketing. Agencies, people from this domain are expensive. How do you think, without an investor backing you, you're going to take the next big leap in order to become a brand?
ऑल्दो ये जो फंडिंग का फंडा है, ये बहुत ही अभी रिसेंट टाइम से बहुत ज़्यादा पॉपुलर हुआ है. अगर हम पहले देखें ना, तो जितने भी जैसे बिजनेसमैन होते थे, चाहे वो सुनार हो, जूलर्स हो, और कपड़े के व्यापारी हो,
बट उनका ग्रोथ भी बरसों से समय लगता था.
राइट.
धीरे 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 वो ब्रांड बने कभी.
राइट. सो अभी पहले ना जो बिजनेसेस जो पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी चलते आ रहे हैं, सो ऑल्दो दे हैव मेड अ वेरी sustainable business, but yet they are very limited to a particular region. कोई पैन इंडिया या कोई इंटरनेशनल ब्रांड का शायद मुझे अभी नाम अगर होगा भी तो याद नहीं आ रहा. अगर हम देखें, काफ़ी सारे जो हमारे ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसमैन होते हैं, उन्होंने रेयरली कभी आई थिंक फंडिंग शायद ही कभी ली होगी, एंड बट दे आर वेरी प्रॉफिटेबल, दे हैव बिल्ट अ सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस मॉडल, बट वो बहुत ही लिमिटेड होते हैं एक रीजन में. एंड when we talk about modern day businesses, so जब हमने स्टार्ट किया था तो हमने कभी ये भी नहीं सोचा था कि हम इतनी जल्दी एक 100 स्टोर माइलस्टोन पे पहुंच पाएंगे. बट आई थिंक अब टाइम है टू थिंक ऑन अ मच बिगर लेवल, जहाँ पे हम आगे 500,000 स्टोर्स करना चाहते हैं, एंड वी डोंट वांट टू वेट फॉर 10 years to achieve that. So I think we may think of taking funds for that expansion.
For startups, one challenge is at the bootstrapped level to garner funds, to get an investor. You've crossed that. You don't need an investor right now for remaining afloat. You need an investor for growth. That's what you're saying.
Right.
But the other challenge is, who would be the right partner? We're seeing a lot of stories around where investors come in and elbow out the promoters. Are you scared of that too?
To be very honest, I've seen Founder, and I've seen a lot of movies on the OTT platforms where I can see, and there are also real life stories that are there in the market. So yeah, the thought does cross our minds ke we may be cornered out, and but at the same time, like you said, finding the right investor is the key. I think that's why we are taking so much time also, that we are not.
So what is the right investor? What according to you is the right investor, quote unquote?
I think the right investor is somebody whose vision for your brand is aligned with yours, in terms of how we are going to expand, what is the pace at which we are going to expand, and does the core values of your brand will remain intact or not.
Neelam, no investor comes into any company for eternity. He comes in to make business, and he sells his stake to the next big bidder, and he moves out. So how can you guarantee in advance, in perpetuity, that you would have an investor who would just be the right partner?
See, I understand that these days investors are looking for a profitable exit, and I think we have have a certain validation with our growth from over the few years that.
That is fine. I invest in your company. Assume I make money, and then after 3 years, I want to move out. You can't stop me selling my equity to the next guy.
We'll be happy to give you a very profitable exit, because we also understand how business works. But at the same time, you would have added some value in the growth of company.
But the next guy, you would not have control over me as to whom I'm selling to. So the next investor who comes in may not be the one that you want. So once you have offloaded your share to one set of investors, there is no control over the next set.
I think when the flow comes into the company, like once we have received some funds and we have a proper strategic plan with us, because we don't plan our expansion for the next 2 months or even for a year. It is planned in advance for the next at least a decent amount of time, say 5 years. So the plan is set, and ultimately the intention is to make this venture profitable. So I think that's where the alignment is already there. The investor, the second, third, fourth investor, they all want the company to grow, so that everybody gets the profits, and it's a win-win situation.
But there are great investors too, who wants to take up your pie, your share of the founder's share. Does that worry you? I mean, is that one reason why you're still not into the investors game?
Not exactly, but I think that's something that we are yet to explore. So I cannot really comment on what we have not experienced. But अगर देखिए risk अगर लेने से इतना डरते तो शायद हम start ही नहीं करते business.
True, Neelam, it was a trajectory where from one store you've reached 100. Two of you, very compatible couple. You've been working very hard all day, night, and a compact team, which is all yours, which has built the company to this stage. When the investors come in, it's a boardroom battle. There's boardroom politics. You need to be very, very shrewd as a promoter. So it's a very, very different scenario. Are you really, two of you, groomed for that yet? Do you know the means and the ways to deal with the board?
See, when we started business, we were not ready for it as well. So I think we can cope up and we can adapt as for the situations, like we did with 0 to 1 and 1 to 100 stores. So I'm sure we can handle it.
Neelam, it's a cozy, tightly woven management today. You, your husband, a handful of professionals, top management. But as you're moving towards growing, and when you accept investors to come into the company, which I assume is going to happen anytime soon, you would have to give up the day-to-day management of the company to top professionals, maybe a CEO along with a couple of vice presidents, a CFO. It would no longer be your company.
So when you say like this, it sounds a bit scary, but I think over the years we have understood one thing, that being emotional about your business is gonna, hold you back sometimes. So you have to be rational as well, when it comes to business. So initially क्या होता था कि when I was running my first store, तो मेरे को लगता था कि मैं ही बनाऊँ ताकि best बने and customer will like it. But then I understood कि managing the restaurant where I have to make sure कि inventory management हो रहा है नहीं, operationally हो रहा है नहीं, I cannot be the chef and the manager at the same time. So there I learned that I will have to keep people, I have to train them and then delegate this task to them. And when we hired the first bunch of employees in our company, when we grew, then also it was like कि नहीं तुम रहने दो, I will do it, कि because when you're so emotionally attached, ना, you feel like कि नहीं मैं कर लूँ तो शायद थोड़ा better हो जाएगा, and which may be the true in some cases, but at the same time when you're looking at the bigger picture, जहाँ पे आप अपनी presence इंडिया में देख रहे हैं and plus internationally अगर आप जाने का सोच रहे हैं, then you have to take it with a pill that you will have to delegate your tasks, you will have to trust people.
You cannot pick up the phone and tell your CEO that my store is dirty. You'll have to wait for that moment of management meeting when you can put up your point. Are you really ready for that stage where you can give up the day-to-day management to a professional management?
Like I said, that you will have to keep some trust, because जब हमने start किया था, we were not a professionally managed firm, right? हम बहुत ही normal basic जो भी हमें थोड़ी बहुत knowledge थी हम उससे manage कर रहे थे. Year by year we are getting better, we are getting more process driven, and we are understanding the more you grow, the more process driven and professional you have to be in your day-to-day working. And I do understand that when another person who will be handling and taking the major calls, it will be difficult to digest, but I think it will be much more better for the company.
Have you seen the movie Founder?
Yes, I have.
On the hindsight, do you think that the two brothers who owned McDonald's, they should have given up when Ray came over? How would you kind of place yourself vis-a-vis the two brothers if there were to be a Ray coming into your life today? Will you give up?
So Rajan, you're right when you say that there is a lot of similarity between us and the McDonald's brothers. So we share the same amount of passion for our brand and for the product. But I think what went wrong with them was they were very rigid in their own ways. They were very rigid with their own policy, the way they want their food to be served, and a lot of things operationally. And I think it's important that one needs to be very dynamic, and have that sense that you can change if you need to. Because when you see our markets, our customers, their preferences, they're very dynamic in nature. They changes from time to time, and if we are not ready for that change and adapt ourselves according to the change, then we will perish in the market. There are so many aspiring entrepreneurs, so many food brands that are out there, and they will easily catch your share.
We were talking about investors coming in eventually to your company, but why not have your your little child grow up, you have a 3-year-old kid. Why don't you have your little child grow up and own this company one day?
Like I said, we are not actively looking for investors, but we are open to the opportunity. See, this is one thing that I've learned, after I started my business, that you should not say no. You should never say never, right? So we are open to any opportunity that comes our way, and if it is aligned with our future strategic plans, then why not? And as far as building a legacy and an empire for my son, I think we don't want to put too much pressure on him. Like, कि doctor का बेटा doctor बनेगा, IAS का बेटा IAS बनेगा.
No, but the end of the day, most businessmen think that I've put in my hard days of the youth, and my son should inherit it.
We don't come from that school of thought. Obviously, it will be great if we can add some more value and take it to the another level. It will be, so exhilarating to see that if that happens. But at the same time, since I'm somebody who did not want to be a teacher like my father wanted, I cannot impose the same thing on my child. Then what is the difference between,
the generational
leap, right? So I think it'll be great if he chooses to. I think it's up to him.
What is the mental alignment that you're looking for in an investor? Because we see a lot of stories where when investors come in, the promoters, the original promoters, very gradually get elbowed out for the simple reason the lure of money is so much for the founders that they prefer to opt out at some point. And for investors, the lure to control the company and go beyond the investors is so strong that they want their promoters out. So what kind of an investor are you looking for?
So I think every investor is looking for good numbers, and like everybody say that sales solve 90% of your problems. So I think the interests are very much aligned, that the company's growth is what's more important, and even if it is required for us to take a step aside and let the other CEO take the more calls, then we'll be open to that if it benefits the company. So it does not mean that it's no longer our brand. We will obviously be involved into strategic meetings in the call. We will be part of the calls, but I think we will. Like all of us will have to keep companies' interest at the top.
A lot of conventional businessmen, owners of very large companies, do not want to give up their day-to-day operational liabilities because one question in their mind is, हम क्या करेंगे? अगर प्रोफेशनल मैनेजमेंट आ जाएंगे, इन्वेस्टर्स आ जाएंगे, कंपनी अपने आप चलने लगेंगे, तो हमारे पास तो काम नहीं होगा. And in order to do that, Neelam, all that you have to do is to make the company process-driven.
So we really realized it when we couldn't take vacations a year back, and being an entrepreneur, it is very important that you're taking your own breaks, so to clear your mind. So step by step, we are trying to make our business operations as process-driven as possible.
So what's the first step that you've taken?
So earlier क्या होता था ना, we used to get so many calls from all our franchisees कि मुझे ये support चाहिए, मेरे को ये चाहिए, जो आपके POC हैं मैंने उनको बताया है but वो काम नहीं हुआ है. तो because everything was on calls and emails, so कभी अगर किसी ने MOM नहीं भेजा तो वो recorded नहीं होता था. So what we have done is अभी हमने I think 6-7 months पहले एक portal launch किया है that is called TBC Help Desk, जहाँ पे you can raise your tickets. So there are departments जहाँ पे आप मार्केटिंग से रिलेटेड कोई क्वेरी है तो आप मार्केटिंग पे टिकट रेज कीजिए. द मार्केटिंग टीम विल टेक दैट ऑन प्रायोरिटी एंड क्लोज द टिकट विद इन द गिवन टैट, and supply chain and operations and so on. So that's one step that we IT driven thing that we did, and slowly there are more processes like assigning proper POCs, then area managers, then field coaches, so that there are various touch points जहाँ पे franchisee support के लिए reach out कर सकते हैं, and they do not have to wait for to connect with us.
How much do I have to pay you if I'm pretty impressed with your store? If I were to take up your franchisee, what's that fee for me?
So you can be a TBC owner with just with an investment of just 20 lakhs.
What are the different models?
So we have various models. There's a takeaway model which starts at 20 lakhs, and then there is a premium sitting, and then there is a signature model on the basis of the square foot area.
And what you give me in return of that money, the franchisee fee?
So 20 lakhs is not franchisee fee. It's the total investment, which consists of your fit out cost, material cost, machinery cost, and our franchisee fee. So we are very economical
Frugal.
That way.
So how do you make money?
So our wholesale earning is the franchisee fee, and then the royalty fee that we charge that varies with your sales, so which is a percentage of your sales.
What percentage?
So it varies 3 to 5% depending.
Are you planning to increase your franchisee fee or the royalty fee now that you're 100 plus?
So it's not about increasing the franchisee fee. We have to justify that also, in terms of what we are offering to our client and for what we are charging a premium for. So पहले जैसे हमारी जो machinery होती थी, अब now we have replaced it with much advanced machinery. So which obviously उसमें costing ज़्यादा होती है. So whatever increment that is there in the investment, it is only on the basis of advanced technology or advanced machinery that we are taking.
A lot of doughy-eyed youngsters who become founders of startups imagine that BMW race car or that 50 crore house that drives them to get into the struggle of entrepreneurship. What is that driving you?
It has never...
Don't tell me it's not money.
No,
it is.
It is. To be very honest, I didn't start it because I wanted to earn money, because I was doing good in my corporate job, and I come from a decent.
But a corporate
family.
job can never fetch you that 50 crore house.
Depends. The CEOs are getting much more than that.
Money in any form may not be house or cars, but holidays or clothes or something. What drives you?
See, I understand it is difficult to digest, but it is not only about the money. If I set the priorities like 1, 2, 3, so on top I put my passion. I got into this business because of my passion and because I wanted to, because I wanted to fill this gap where, small towners did not get that opportunity, to experience what youngsters in the metro cities, had that privilege to. If one thing that drives me, that motivates me is my passion and the happiness that I see on the faces of my customers. And obviously money is there, but it is not my priority.
You're so diplomatic, so smart with your answers. I'm really impressed. But I'll still insist on asking you this question. What is that you would do with that paycheck that you get from selling your stake to an investor? Would you buy a big house, a fancy car? What is that you would do materially which makes you feel fulfilled, achieved?
See, I would invest that 100 crore back and then build a 500, 800 crore empire, because
Awesome.
I am an entrepreneur and I would like to stay that way.
Music to ears. There are a lot of youngsters who are listening to your wise words. Would you advise them to become a startup owner or play safe?
It depends. अगर आप सिर्फ entrepreneur इसलिए बनना चाहते हो कि आज आपने शार्क टैंक के 2 एपिसोड्स देखे हैं तो मत करो। अगर आप इसलिए बनना चाहते हो कि आपके फूफे का चाचा का लड़का entrepreneur बना और उसने 100 करोड़ का घर लिया तो मत बनो। So what I'm trying to say is, do it for the right reasons. Do it if that is what you think your purpose is. And do it if you are solving a problem.
The failure story among startups are far more stark and harsh and cruel than the success stories. You've just been lucky, both by your work and your perhaps fate that you've succeeded. One word for those who want to give up their secure jobs and start a company. Yes or no?
See, again, it's difficult to say yes or no because I did it. So it's a yes for me because I had a secure job. My husband had a secure job, but it was not easy. It doesn't, जैसे कहते हैं ना, the overnight success has 10 years of struggle, which people don't see. So there has been lot of low points in our lives where we thought कि नहीं, आज हम बंद कर देते हैं, नहीं हो रहा है. But then again you rise up because there is something that's fueling your passion, and so I would just say that leave it if you really believe in yourself, because if I can do it, then I think anybody can. I'm just a regular small towner girl.
One big thank you to somebody because of whom you think Burger Company has expanded so fast.
I think there are a lot of people to thank. I do not want it to sound like an award speech, but I would really like to thank my customers because दूसरा सबसे बड़ा हाथ है स्विगी एंड जोमेटो का, जिनकी वजह से हम उन कस्टमर्स तक पहुंच पाते हैं जो हमारे स्टोर पे नहीं आ सकते फॉर वट एवर रीज़न. A big thank you to Swiggy and Zomato for contributing towards the burger company's growth and reach. And hey Dipinder Goyal, are you listening? You haven't visited my outlet yet. Please do come. How do I send you invite? And थोड़ा commission कम करो.